Hi everyone, my name is Aubrey Patrick and this is Climate Group C's presentation on climate change and how religion impacts our planet. So to start off, what is climate change? Climate change is a long-term shift in temperatures and weather patterns. While these can be natural over time, humans have been the main contributors towards climate change since the 1800s. Burning fossil fuels such as oil, gas, and coal have been the main factors for this change. While climate change does encompass global warming, it is more than just the rising of Earth's temperatures. Climate change includes sea levels rising, shifts in flower and plant blooming times, accelerating ice melts in the Arctics, mountain glaciers melting, droughts, longer heat waves, and more. So a main aspect of climate change is greenhouse gases. So when we burn fossil fuels, we create greenhouse gases which trap the sun's heat and attribute to the overall temperature in the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide is the primary greenhouse gas emitted through human activities, and it accounts for about 79% of all US greenhouse gas emissions. While carbon dioxide is present naturally in the atmosphere, human activities alter the carbon cycle by affecting how much CO2 is being added and removed from the atmosphere. The main sources of these carbon dioxide emissions in the US are transportation, electricity, and industry. And on the right here, I have two graphs which you can see the breakup of the total US carbon dioxide emissions by source and the amount of gas and what kind they are. So you can see that transportation is the most carbon dioxide emission, followed by electric power, industry, residential and commercial, and other. And when we think about the entire greenhouse gas emissions, the overview of them, carbon dioxide is the most, followed by methane, nitrous oxide, and fluorinated gases. So Tampa's impact on climate. In 2019, we saw Tampa's overall greenhouse gas emissions decrease from about 6.6 million metric tons of CO2 to about 5.3 million, which was found to be a result of fuel switching and other electrical improvements. However, that declining trend is most likely going to reverse as Tampa continues to have a growing population, and Tampa's population is expected to grow about 100,000 people by 2050. With this growing population, more water, energy, and material goods will be consumed. We are seeing Tampa's energy provider, TECO, switch from coal to natural gas and expand its power stations with efficient technologies. With this improvement, we saw Tampa's energy emissions drop from 64% to 47% of the city's total greenhouse gas emissions. This decline is a great way to start the overall goal of lowering Tampa's greenhouse gas emissions. So here on these graphs, we can see the change in Tampa's citywide greenhouse gas emissions from 2009 to 2019. You can see how there was a total net decrease of about 19%, with the main ones dropping being energy and water and wastewater. But we did see some increase in transportation and industrial. And then on the right, we can see the greenhouse gas emissions by category broken up, and this is for the government operations. And the government operations greenhouse gas emissions was mostly solid waste at 59.1%, followed by electricity, vehicle fleet, and wastewater. So ways we can improve Tampa's emissions. While it will be difficult and time consuming for us to lower Tampa's overall greenhouse gas emissions, we can all make little changes in our daily lives to help do our part in lowering emissions. By reducing our consumption of material goods, electricity, water, and transportation, we can start to slowly make our impact. Some ways to help lower our greenhouse gas emissions following stuff that is virtually free or relatively cheap is carpooling or finding alternate transportation such as biking, walking, or public transportation. Turning off lights and fans when they're not being used is really simple. Just unplug your electronics when you're not being used, or simply flicking off a light switch when you leave a room. You can also limit your water consumption by taking shorter showers or turning off the faucet when it's not being actively used. And you can even replace the light bulbs in your house with LED lights, which significantly decrease energy usage. And some more expensive alternatives would be to get your water pump insulated and insulate your house more efficiently, and then also installing energy efficient windows and appliances. And the TECO website includes a lot of different resources, blogs, and posts that help show you how to make these changes present in your home, your life, and how to do it as efficiently and cost effective as possible. So, when we talk about sustainable development goals, there are 3 that relate to climate change. The first one is goal number 13, which is climate action, and that states to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. This goal is pretty straightforward about what we should do and combat climate change. Goal number 14, life below water, states to conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. And goal number 15, life on land, says to protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation and halt biodiversity loss. Goal 14 and 15 aren't straight up saying climate change, but they are related to climate change in a way. So, how does religion play a role? Across all the religions we have in the world, they all have aspects that can relate to protecting and respecting the environment. While they might not always be in a literal sense, we can interpret religions and how they view the world and climate. In Buddhism, the Eightfold Path includes living with the right action, effort, work, and mindfulness. These steps can relate to treating the environment right and making conscious efforts regarding daily life. In Jainism, do not injure, abuse, oppress, enslave, insult, torment, torture, or kill any creature or living being. In Hinduism, it is mentioned how there is an inseparable bond between man and nature, and that for man there cannot be an existence removed from nature. In Confucianism, it is believed that a sustainable, harmonious relationship between the human species and nature is not merely an abstract ideal, but a concrete guide for practical living. So, there are plenty of organizations in Tampa that revolve around climate change and the incorporation of religion. So, the first one, the Florida Interfaith Climate Actions Network, is a network of climate conscious individuals and groups that come together to address Florida's unique climate challenges. They unite across faiths to work towards a common goal, which is to save our planet. Another club, called the Sierra Club's Florida chapter, is committed to educating the public on all aspects regarding climate change. They promote and practice the responsible use of Earth's ecosystems and work together with other organizations to achieve change. The Nature Conservancy builds partnerships with local governments, regional climate collaboratives, and the private sector to amplify the impact of climate change action. Their main goal is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and they even have an entirely women-run seminar. The Tampa Bay Buddhist Climate Action Network has done several different things to raise awareness about climate change. They host online network meetings, they partner with other networks such as the Florida Mindfulness Committee to advocate, they hold in-person meetings and incorporate Buddhist practices and principles into the larger climate movement and interfaith efforts. In Tampa Bay, we are seeing an overall decline in our greenhouse gas emissions, which is helping us make a positive impact on the environment. However, while it is a good start for becoming more efficient in our daily lives, we must be serious and prepared for the future when it comes to climate. We've seen the impacts climate change has had on our environment and can continue to predict the damage that will be done. Faith-based organizations, chapters of nationally recognized organizations, and personal choices work towards educating the public regarding the importance of climate change, ecosystems, and practicing sustainable behaviors in Tampa. By doing our part, we are helping combat the inevitable, and by just making little changes throughout our days, we will help save our planet.